What's up, everyone, and welcome to the show. I'm your host, Eric. This is going to be a little bit of a longer episode, so bear with me. But today we'll be talking about Apple's new MacBook Pros, which they just released in October of 2016. Now, for a while, the MacBook Pros haven't seen any significant upgrade. The most notable upgrade was when Apple came out with their MacBook Pro Retina model, which is the one I have in front of me. Don't mind if I keep glancing at it. This computer, was thinner and offered some great features and upgrades and whatnot. But since then, we haven't seen anything really new until now. Apple's new MacBook Pro 2016 edition, if you will, offers a newer design. It's cleaner, it's even more made out of aluminum like on the Retina model and other MacBook Pros in the past. The hinge has been plastic, now it's all aluminum. The MacBooks are thinner, as well as there now is another color. Now, the MacBooks and all the aluminum Macs that Apple has made have really always been silver. And now they have silver, but also have a space gray option, which personally I love. I don't know if you remember this, but back in the day, it's not back in the day, it wasn't too long ago, when Apple had their plastic MacBook, at one point they had a black version of it, and I always liked that one just because it was black. I don't know, I like the color. So I'm really excited that now they have a space gray MacBook Pro. I'm definitely looking forward to it, regardless though of that. So yeah, the MacBook Pro, the 13-inch and the 15-inch model have a newer, sleeker design. Really the lower end MacBook Pro 13-inch is really now competing with the Apple's MacBook Air. And I can't really see Apple now upgrading the MacBook Air because this new MacBook Pro is really even thinner, I believe, than the Air, as well as it has better performance and specs and all that, better screen. So essentially, the MacBook Air from Apple is probably pretty much dead. I don't know if Apple's going to be doing anything else with it. Regardless, though, besides of the actual outer shell of the MacBook Pro, the newer one, what else is different? Well, if you open up the device, you'll notice first that the touchpad is a lot bigger. I never thought that my touchpad on my MacBook Pro was too small, but now the new one is even more bigger and it's absolutely insane. On top of the new trackpad, if you go to the top of the screen right above the keyboard where the function keys are supposed to be, Apple actually has removed the function keys entirely, and now there is a OLED touchscreen known as the Touchbar. This, like I mentioned, removed all the function keys like the brightness control, volume control, and all that on the MacBook, so you now just have this screen, which, if you're in, depending on what app and stuff you're in, you still have access on that OLED screen to adjust the brightness and whatnot. You just don't have physical keys. But what's unique about this touch bar is it'll change depending on your application. So if I'm in like the messaging app, maybe I'll have all my emojis laid out there and I can just scroll through in case I want to send an emoji to someone. Or if I'm in Finder, I can easily create a new folder or a new file or something just by clicking on the touch bar. Or my favorite feature is if I'm in Final Cut Pro X, which is a video editing software that I personally use, then I'm going to be able to see my entire timeline basically in the keyboard, and I can just scroll through it easily, which is going to make editing probably faster for me. Now, a lot of people are thinking that this touch screen thing on the keyboard, the touch bar, is kind of a gimmick. It's not really that important. No one really cares about it, blah, 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 blah. Personally, I'm really excited for it. If you don't know, Apple is not going to release a MacBook Pro anytime soon with an actual touchscreen. Apple is very against having a touchscreen laptop because, when your hand is touching the screen, it's in the way. Also, you're going to attract a ton of fingerprints on the screen, which personally, I hate fingerprints on my screen. So I can kind of relate to Apple. You know, I was never happy about not having a touchscreen, but this touch bar is gonna kind of sort of fill that gap a little bit. At least I think the touch bar is a really good idea, and I think it's gonna take some time for third-party developers and whatnot to really utilize it. But I think Apple's giving developers a good tool to use, so hopefully some good things come out of the touch bar. Moving on though, another thing with the physical design of the MacBook Pro has to do with the ports. Now, Apple invented, I guess you could say, the MagSafe power charger, power adapter, whatever, on the MacBooks and on the MacBook Pros and MacBooks for years now. It's the magnetic charger that, you know, if you trip over it, it easily pops out of your computer, and everyone's really like that. On the new MacBook Pros though, Apple's gotten rid of that. In fact, Apple's gotten rid of basically every port. Now there are, on the 15-inch MacBook Pro at least, there are 4 Thunderbolt 3/USB-C connectors, or ports I should say, as well as a headphone jack. So what does that mean? That means that there's no USB, there's no SD card, there's no HDMI. Anything you want to do on this computer, you need to have an adapter for, or a dongle, or something. You cannot just simply plug in a thumb drive or anything to this computer anymore. Which might be very frustrating to a lot of people, and I get that. But one thing you have to realize is this technology, this new port, is gonna be the future. It's gonna be the standard in the future. Now, it's not standard right now in the present, and it's gonna be a pain in the butt for a lot of people right now, but it's the steps in the right direction. And you know, one thing you have to look at is Apple's the one that's going to take the beating here. Sure, we've had other companies like PC manufacturers add 1 or 2 USB-C connectors on their computers, but that's not forcing people to get the technology. It's just there in case someone wants it. But that's not really helping us in the long run. What we need is to completely go to that adapter, that port. And Apple's the one that's really forcing that. And because Apple is really the first one that's really trying to push this, yeah, there's going to be a lot of people that are going to be mad at Apple and whatnot. But just realize in a year or so, maybe, PC manufacturers are going to possibly switch over to just this port. And they're not going to be yelled at as much because everyone started to get used to it, used to this new port because of Apple. So, you know, Apple might be early into this, but they know what's going to be in the future. So I can't complain too much about it. Moving on, though, from the externals, we'll get back to the ports and all that, but looking internally into the new MacBook, you know, it has the standard upgrades with a new processor, a new graphic card. I personally like Apple having NVIDIA graphic cards. My MacBook has a 750, I believe, or 750M, I should say. But the newer MacBooks have the AMD graphic cards, and that's, I don't know, I don't like that. I know a lot of people are like that, but at the end of the day, it doesn't matter what specific brand Apple has in their MacBooks because they build everything, they build the hardware and software together. So it all works together. And, you know, the new graphic cards in these machines are going to be even more powerful than the last, even more energy efficient. So can I really complain? No. People might think, oh, it could be faster and whatnot. And of course it can be, but because Apple does the hardware and software together, it always really works out well, and you're not going to be gaming on a Mac, let's be honest. So what other performance do you need? Now, with performance and the internals and whatnot mentioned, one thing that people are really not happy about is the memory. On the new MacBooks, the max memory you can have is 16 gigabytes. I have 16 gigabytes in my MacBook. It's okay. It's whatever. I'm perfectly fine with it. A lot of people I know wish they had a lot more, like 32 gigabytes, and I get that. Unfortunately, we don't have that right now. So, we'll see if Apple does upgrade the RAM in the future. Right now, it's only 16 gigabytes, so keep that in mind. So, doing a quick recap of the MacBook Pro and what I've talked about so far and rambled on about, the new MacBook Pro offers a new design, a new colors, thinner, whatever. It's stripped most of the ports and only has USB-C/Thunderbolt 3. It is going to have some upgraded internals, faster CPU, faster GPU. Oh, the screen is upgraded. Still the same resolution, but better color as well as brighter, so that's good. And of course, the touch bar and the newer trackpad. So with all that said, let's go into why people are really angry about this computer. And first up has to do with the price. Apple has risen the price on this device $200 to $300 more, which doesn't make me happy. If I look on their website, the starting or the higher end 15-inch model, the one that I'd personally get, now starts off at $2,799. That's a lot of money. I think my 15-inch MacBook costed me $2,499 or $599. Not sure which. Regardless, though, they've risen the price about $200 to $300 more on a machine that is already a lot of money. And on top of that, if I bought this computer, if I got the MacBook, I get the maxed out 15-inch. So I'd be upgrading probably the processor, the RAM if I could, graphic cards, CPU, etc. So you're talking about $3,000 and then some. It's easily going to be like a $3,500 machine, which is just simply a lot of money. I could be saving a decent amount of money if Apple didn't raise the price, which is quite unfortunate. But it is what it is. Moving on, though, there's also been the complaints of why is Apple making computers thinner when they could be having more battery life and have more room for the actual hardware. And yes, that's true. But if Apple made a thicker computer that has better specs, people are going to then say, oh, well, I'm not going to buy a MacBook because it's not as portable as name some random Ultrabook that's Windows based. It's gonna happen. Welcome to the world of consumers. And then, with the ports, I think that's one of the biggest things that people have an issue with. The ports, USB-C/Thunderbolt 3. Yeah, it's gonna be a little bit of a hassle to use your peripherals and whatnot. But just wait, it'll get better over time, as well as we're going to see third-party companies make adapters and docks and dongles and whatnot that are going to be cheaper than what Apple offers. So just wait and, things will work themselves out. I promise you that. So would I get the MacBook Pro? Would I get the new one? And first off, I have to say, I am not at all in the market for a new MacBook. I have mine right now. It works great. I can't complain about it. If I, for some reason, really needed a new computer, I would definitely go with the new MacBook Pro, 15-inch, spec'd out. Sure, it's a lot of money, but I think it's worth it, and it really is future-proof for having the new Thunderbolt 3 ports, as well as, I should have also mentioned, with the internals, the flash-based storage has gotten a speed increase as well, so I'm going to be able to open up apps and movies and whatnot even faster, which is great for a content creator. But yeah, the MacBook Pros are still fantastic machines, and I'm really interested in the Touch Bar. I really am. I really like it. But will I buy that computer with my current Retina computer sitting in front of me? And the fact is, no, I don't need that computer. It would be really nice to have it, but I don't need it. Would I sell this computer to get a new MacBook? I probably wouldn't get enough money for my current MacBook. But now, if you're in the market for a computer but don't really need it, like you're just kind of looking around for the heck of it, I would say if you can, wait, because, every year Apple comes out with something even better. So next year, who knows if they're going to have an upgrade version of the Touch Bar, or simply they might have some better specs. There's been rumors already talking about 32 gigabytes of RAM. And also, because this is the first model with the Touch Bar, in the next model, it might come down some money. So if you can, I'd say wait. You might have to wait an entire year at this point. So if you can't wait, go ahead, buy the new MacBook Pro. It's going to be worth it. If you can wait, though, you might want to. For me, I'm going to probably be waiting till I actually purchase the computer. Of course, we'll see, but that's how I stand right now. So overall, guys, the new MacBook Pro, I give it a thumbs up. I like it. Sure, it has some quirks and whatnot, especially with the ports, but Apple's just trying to, in some ways, be innovative. Or maybe not innovative, but at least protect their computers from the future, because the future is USB-C. Don't forget that. Anyway, guys, if you have any questions, comments, concerns, let me know in the comment section below. Sorry for this kind of rambling on longer video. I don't do these often. Just wanted to make this video. If you want to see more of these kind of videos, just rambling on, making a fool of myself, let me know in the comment section below. Anyway, guys, that's the video. I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.